Good to have you coming down the road with us. Let me tell you a little bit about that road today. It can't decide whether it wants to end here in the east. Winter just keeps going on and on and on, and it couldn't decide whether it wanted to snow or rain. I live in the very southern end of the valley, and the drive up to Fargo today sucked. It really did. I think we can say that word on TV. It stunk. There's a better word. But slipping and sliding, and it just got old. And so hopefully we'll get to that 50 degrees, 60 degrees, so many of you can get out in the field, which you have the itch to get out, right? It's spring here in the upper Midwest, and we need to be able to get outside without worrying about 3-4 inches of snow, which I know many of you haven't got, but we did again. Now, we've got some things we want to cover today. We're going to talk about vaccinations and where we're at in terms of the booster shot. Many of you are eligible. Are you going to take it? Are you not? Should you take it? Well, we'll get into that today. Pat Hart's going to join us as well. They just got done with their convention in Minot. Pat is the chairman of the Dem NPL party, and they've got some candidates they want you to get to know, and so we'll talk to Pat about it. But avian influenza. What is it? Well, we're going to talk about it. Rusty Halvorson is a reporter for my day job. That's right, the Mighty 790 KFGO, and he's a voice that people have known for years. One of the greatest people I've ever worked with, Rusty Halvorson, and I don't just hire because of red hair. I just want you to know that.
Well, thank you.
I'm just glad you came to work with us.
And you are fun to work with.
We behave. It's radio. It's supposed to be fun, right?
Yep.
Well, let's make TV that same way. I want to talk about avian influenza. For people who don't know what that is, what is it?
Well, basically, it's what it sounds like. It's a bird flu, and it's not a food safety concern. Let's start off right there. This is not a food safety concern, and it's a very low risk to humans. And so far, in this latest avian influenza outbreak, there have been no detections of anybody having this virus transmitted to them. So it's not a food safety issue, it's not a human health issue, but it is a production issue, and it's also an issue we have to keep in mind when it comes to our trading partners, because this is a problem you want to control to maintain your trade routes around the world.
Okay, we use the word poultry. When I think of poultry, I think of turkeys, I think of chickens. Is this affecting both? Because apparently, 15 flocks this is shown up in, or where are we at there?
Yeah, I think 15 flocks in Minnesota, 15 in Iowa, but it's been detected around 22, 24 different states. And it's a transmissible disease, either respiratory, saliva, or through fecal matter. And it comes from migratory birds. It can often be detected in migratory birds, your migrating ducks, your geese. And they carry these viruses, and we are in the Flyway. And so as these ducks and geese make their way up to Canada, they bring this bug with them, and it's a problem for our commercial producers and backyard flocks too. They're highly transmissible again, and the best defenses are biosecurity. I talked with a fellow named Butch Bray from the Minnesota Turkey and Promotion Council. And I think we've learned a lot since 2015 when we had our latest outbreak. In 2015, we lost 50 million birds. We had to depopulate 50 million birds, which amounted to, I think, around 12% of U.S. production. Now, so far, on this latest outbreak, we're around 2 million birds through several eastern states, and now Iowa, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, that whole Flyway. So it's not as severe as it was so far back in 2015, but this is something we'll be talking about through the summer, because it takes those summer months of getting those birds up north, out of our neighborhood, so to speak. And if we have cold weather and those migratory birds hang around in the northern plains, that's just more opportunity for that virus to be here. We need warm summer months to kill that virus, get those birds up and out of here, and get past it.
So I was thinking about this because you talk about the Flyway and how it's transmitted, through what I would call wild birds.
Yep.
Versus, domestic cage birds.
Yep.
So, you think about it, it's, you look at the deer herd. Okay, they come down with disease. All of a sudden, you've got less deer.
Oh, yeah.
There has never been more waterfowl in my lifetime than there is now. And I think it's because there's less guys getting after it. I mean, there's a lot less hunters when it comes to, as it makes its way north, to the point where North Dakota Game and Fish put, and this is a while ago now, an open season on Snows and Blues as they made their way.
Yep.
Is it, I know I'm speculating here, but is it like the good Lord's way of saying, you know what? There needs to be less of you. Here's what's going to happen.
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if that isn't part of this. So, you said this earlier, but I just want to hit on it again.
Yep.
If we're heading into the Easter holiday season.
Okay.
If I go to the store and buy a turkey for the big family feast, I don't have to worry about it.
No. Supplies are not a concern. However, this is just personally me speaking. I think we have had a knee-jerk reaction at the grocery store when it comes to prices. Prices for eggs, prices for turkeys have gone up quite a bit since this news broke. We've been dealing with this since February, but once it gets on everybody's radar, it just seems like those prices want to spike. I don't think we have a supply concern. When back in 2015, there was all sorts of talk about, oh boy, are we going to have enough turkeys? And even during the pandemic, are we going to have enough turkeys? Just because of production issues and whatnot. It's not a food supply issue. I don't think it's a food issue that we have to worry about. But just like all consumer price index prices for consumer goods and groceries, they've been rising through the pandemic, and I think this is just the latest wrinkle in that whole thing. I wish I could fix it, but I can't.
So you take a look at Minnesota, clearly a huge turkey producing
best
state.
in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, big, and where you and I live in the eastern part of North Dakota, you don't have to go very far into Minnesota to find it.
Sure.
A lot of turkey barns over there. In North Dakota, where I live, you've got the Hutterite colonies raising turkeys. Mm-hmm. Wittenberg's on the north end of Richland County, and I'm talking about just in my area.
Yep.
And there was a place that Burkles owned in northern Richland County where they built the houses the wrong direction, air couldn't get through, and there was a massive, the flock died.
Yeah.
And so they're susceptible. It doesn't take much, and pretty soon you've got a turkey flock that's sitting in pretty tough shape.
Yeah. Minnesota, number one in the nation. North Dakota obviously has a lot of turkey producers, and they do a good job. And they do a good job at biosecurity. A lot of these facilities, if you want to go into them, they wouldn't invite me. They wouldn't invite you right now. Biosecurity.
Especially if we just shot a mallard or a Canadian goose, right?
No.
You're definitely not coming in.
No, that'd be the worst. But so many of these producers, we learned so many lessons from 2015. Again, when I refer back to Butch Bray of Minnesota, we've learned so many lessons about biosecurity and how to keep these flocks safe that I think we've come a long way since then. But this is a naturally occurring virus, and you just can't stop it. You just can't stop it. So you just hope to do your best to protect your flock against something that might happen.
See, to me, the turkey industry has done such a good job of expanding the use of turkey or the consumption of turkey.
Sure.
I mean, you can't go to a Subway without hearing people order turkey sandwich, right?
Yep.
Of course, I mentioned the holidays, but the parts, getting out there and making turkey a regular part of the diet. And you're saying to me that I'm not going to have to worry about whether or not I can ever buy that turkey sandwich in the next year.
No. You should be able to find your turkey. The price might be a little bit more, like we talked about, just the way the food prices are rising and whatnot. But again, this is a situation where you don't want to scare everybody.
Yeah.
What
about chickens? I mean, what about where people raise chickens? I mean, I mentioned the Hutterite colony. For me, if I want to buy chickens like in bulk, 30 chickens at a time, something like that, I go to the Sundale colony, north of Miller. Legal, or else I go to Bob Skoog and his family on the north end of Richland County. We lost Bob, but the point is their family always raised chickens. You can't find places that you can buy chickens that much like that anymore.
Yeah, and if you do have a place, call ahead, because there are now rules being put into place where poultry sales and chicken swaps and things like that, they're kind of off the table right now, just to be, be overly precautious,
Okay, I'm gonna make you put on your other hat. I began the show by talking about the weather here in the east.
Mm-hmm.
I know you and I both know a lot of farmers. They're getting the itch. They're getting the itch back.
Yeah.
They want to get out in the field.
Yes.
What are you hearing? Are they going out there with optimism? Higher fertilizer prices, a lot of higher seed prices.
Yeah.
What are you hearing?
Well, we are getting closer. I've heard of some guys scratching around in the Southwest. Not going to name names, but guys do have the itch. This year, USDA came out with their prospective plantings report last year. From a nationwide standpoint, we're going to be about 4% higher on soybeans, maybe 4% lower on corn acres. And that speaks to the fertilizer question that you just brought up. Now, when it comes to spring wheat acres, all wheat in the nation, among the fifth lowest years since records were kept back in 1919. Spring wheat around the nation could be down about 2%. Durum acreage, though, could be up about 17%. Now, the thing that I need to talk with more folks about is the acres they're going to dabble with when it comes to sunflowers, when it comes to dry edible beans, flax, canola, because some of those prices record on the board right now, just record on the board. A lot of the guys in our little neighborhood neck of the woods, they're generally corn, soybean, sugar beet guys. They're going to stick with their general rotation. They don't dabble that much. But those growers in the western areas, if they've got an elevator who will take that product, that's where you may see some more play away from those more fertilizer-intensive crops into something that you don't have to put nitrogen on.
See, I understand durum, I understand the barley, the oats, all of that. I can look at prices as well as anybody, but the wheat price is good.
Yeah.
I mean, the wheat, I talked to a couple of guys here in the east that are like, why not wheat? And they're like, because you harvest it in August, and I don't want to harvest in August.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you'd rather go fishing.
Exactly. Or go to the lake and just
Yeah.
hang out. So,
Yeah.
Rusty, always good to talk to you, man.